Today we will look at how to introduce or how to reinforce computational thinking concepts through the making of the Dinosaur Steps jigsaw. So students will actually use algorithmic thinking and logical thinking when they start the process to actually create the jigsaw itself from Dinosaur Steps. Normally when we have a jigsaw, what we can do is we can start off by actually thinking about how we're going to find the pieces to put them together. And so normally we would actually set up a process. So for example, we may find the pieces that are corners and put those all together. And then any edges, and look at them, so that's a corner, edges. And then the third part might be pieces that don't have either a corner or an edge. Once we have sorted these out, that's a first step. And actually you can see that we're actually decomposing the task. We're breaking it down into smaller parts whilst we're doing this. So the next thing that people normally do when they make a jigsaw is probably position either the edges or the corners. So I will move the middle pieces out of the way, and I will start by thinking about the corner pieces, placing them roughly where I think they may go. And then what we can do is we can work through the edges on the actual piece itself. So if we're not quite sure, obviously we can trial things out. When we're putting things in place, you can see that I am matching. I'm using pattern recognition to match together things like the lines, things like the shapes, the trees, all those different aspects as well, to enable me to place these things in the right position. Also, with algorithmic thinking, if I find that I have a piece and I think I know where it is, however, I may be thinking about which way round it should go, I'm actually using error detection and debugging skills as I'm popping this together too. So we're using lots of different types of concepts from computational thinking as we're working through the process of putting the pieces together itself. Once we've completed the outside edges, then obviously logic will take us to those middle pieces. And once again, we are using pattern recognition to help me to identify where things will go. In this case, obviously we've got colour and shape. And then with the final piece, it's a little bit more difficult. I may need to trial things out to see where things go, but I work through a process logically to finalise where things are. Once you've got the jigsaw together, you can also see that this is a very simple representation of abstraction. Abstraction is where you focus on the important things and ignore the things that aren't quite so important. So in this case, you can see that we have a dinosaur land, but we haven't got all the features of a dinosaur land. We have got key features like the volcanoes, the bubbling mud, the eggs, the flora and fauna of the time period, just to represent that this is when this is taking place. So the visual image in the map is also a form of abstraction. So essentially what we have done is we have put together the jigsaw using all of the different computational thinking concepts.